Welcome to Inherited. I'm your host, Ruby Hall, and every week I sit down with a guest who tells me about the rule, relic, recipe, and ritual that has shaped who they are today. And today I speak to Latisha Clark, one of the country's most successful social media stories. At just 21 years old, Latisha has built a booming skincare business, a popular podcast, and over 3.5 million followers online. In this conversation, Latisha opens up about her early childhood when she inspired her mother Kat to escape an abusive partner. She speaks about her first heartbreak, the power of vulnerability and gratitude, and how both have played a huge part in her success. Latisha has inherited incredible resilience from the ones she loves most. She's grounded and determined, and she was a joy to chat to. Just a note before you listen, this episode touches on domestic violence. Help and support is available via 1-800-RESPECT. And here's Latisha. Hi, Latisha.
Hi.
How are you, hun?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming in today. We're in the Gold Coast.
I know.
How are you, though? Have you just gotten back from Europe?
Yeah, I actually just got back from the Philippines. So
Philippines?
Yeah, when I went to Europe, I think maybe like 2 weeks later, I went to the Philippines with my family.
Yeah.
So I'm like more so thinking of that.
Yes.
But yeah, I did get back from Europe.
You've been traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to start with your recipe today and talk about your family and your Filipino background.
Yeah.
Your recipe is a Filipino dish. What is
Yes.
it?
So it's called sinigang, and it's like this sour soup. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just like a bunch of meat, vegetables, and it's just so nostalgic for me. Like, the thing is, I actually don't know how to cook it. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't even know how to make it myself. It's probably really easy, but every time, you know, I'd be with my grandparents or my mum, it's like a comfort food for me. Yeah, so.
Did you
I don't
have it
know.
recently when you went to?
Oh, yeah. I had it in the Philippines, and it was the first time I had it made like professionally, I guess, and it was so good.
Yum.
Like, I think I ended up ordering it like 6 or 7 times while we were there, like every single meal.
Yeah.
And you have it with like rice. It's just so good.
Did you grow up making this with your mum and your Lola, your grandma?
Yeah, so Lola means grandma in Tagalog, but yeah, I think as the youngest I can remember, that was always like a staple dish in our home because, you know, soup is so easy to eat when you're a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time I'd go over, my grandma still makes it for me. Every time I go over, she's like, oh, come over, I'll make you sinigang. Like, yeah, it's just a really big staple dish in my life, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just a way that I can connect with like that side of my family and like our culture. And even around Christmas time, that's like what we'll have. Like, we don't have like the typical Aussie Christmas. Like, we'll have like rice, noodles, sinigang. Like, it's all philo food. So it all feels like really nostalgic for me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Are you close to your Lola, even though she lives in the Philippines? Yeah.
Yeah. No, she actually lives in Australia.
Oh, she lives here. Sorry. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm super close with her. I'm probably like the closest to her out of my whole family. Like, even like compared to like my mum.
Yeah.
Like, I talk to her like almost every single day. Because my mum and her have like an interesting relationship. She's like very strict.
Yes.
But she's not strict on me because I'm not her daughter.
Yeah.
So she kind of turns like a blind eye with everything I do.
Yeah.
Like, the other day I was at her house and she saw my tattoo for the first time and she's like, oh, Latisha. And I was like, I'm sorry. She's like, don't get any more. But if that was my mum, like, she would have lost it. You know?
Yeah.
She's like a little bit easier on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really close with her and I like call her every few days because I just think like your grandparents, that they're probably looking forward to that the most out of their entire day, like talking to their grandkids, you know, and they only have like me and my sister as their grandkids. They don't have any others. So
yeah, you're so special to her. I'm really close to my nana as well. We have a really special bond. I'm very close to my mum as well, but it's different. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So your story and your mother's story is really interesting. Your mum had you on her 17th birthday.
Yeah.
When did you first realize that your mum was younger than most other mums?
I mean, I don't have a distinct memory, but I remember being in primary school and being like really proud that my mum was really young.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'd go to my friends' houses and their parents were quite old and I was like, that's just so weird. Like, my mum is so young. She's like my best friend and this is just so strange that your parents aren't young.
Yeah.
And a lot of people ask me like how it is, but I really don't know any different.
Yeah.
So like I can't even compare it to anything.
Yeah.
But I think when I really started to realize that she was young was when all my guy friends would start hitting on her. And I was like, what do you mean she's hot? She's my mum.
She's my mum, please don't.
Oh my gosh, all my guy friends are still in love with her to this day. Like they say it to her and I'm like, you guys are out of pocket. Like I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, the first time I realized is when she just started getting like attention from like my boyfriends.
That is hilarious. You're like, hang on, actually, you did have me really young.
Yeah.
Your mum has spoken about how scary your first years were. She scribbled away $2 at a time to be able to leave her abusive partner. And it was actually you that inspired her to leave him for good and never go back. How was that story told to you when you were a little girl?
Well, I'm really lucky because my mum has always been really honest with me and like open, and that's our biggest thing. Like we tell each other everything. And I feel like if she tried to hide that from me when I was younger, it would have been so much harder. But honestly, it just inspires me and it just gives me strength and makes me really grateful for the sacrifices that she made, because every time she, tells the story, it's like a knife in the heart, because I'm like, I can't believe you did that for me. But yeah, it is weird to think about that I kind of went through that and I didn't even know because I was so young.
Of course.
But yeah, every time she, I guess, tells a story, I'm really inspired. But she was always open and honest about it since I was young. So it's never really been an issue. It's just like been a part of my life.
Do you remember when she first told you, like when you were younger? It's kind of hard to remember these when you're quite young though and you're going through something that's quite intense for your family. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember when she told me the story, but I always remember knowing.
Yeah.
But I was really lucky because my dad, like Jonathan, I call him my dad, always have.
Yeah.
He came into my life when I was 2.
Yeah.
And so I always like had that father figure around and I always knew that, my mum went through something and it was kind of hard, but I didn't really, I guess, know the degree of it until I kind of grew up and then knew like what domestic violence was and kind of understood it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember when she first told me. I just know like it would have been since the day I was born probably.
Well, your mum was so brave. What has she taught you about bravery?
Well, she's definitely brought me up to be very independent.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very, very independent person. I traveled to like 2 foreign countries by myself. Like I do everything by myself. She's just always told me to like stand up for myself, and that's something that I kind of pride myself on. Like if anybody says something to me, like I have 2 back legs to stand on, whereas some people like kind of back down. But I don't know if she really taught me bravery. Maybe I just kind of have bravery from knowing like what she went through, and I have strength and knowing that, if anything happened, I could put a stop to it, or anything that does happen, like it's going to pass.
Well, you were her little baby then, and she thought in that moment, around that time of her life, I've got to protect her and me now. It's not,
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I remember she told me this story of when she did leave and she was on the train and it was just me and her and she literally had no money.
Yeah.
And I was like crying because I was starving. I've always been a foodie. But she had like $2 and she bought like a muffin and she just gave the whole thing to me. And I think that's like a story that I'll always carry with like the mother's sacrifice, to take care of their child is so inspiring and it's just so beautiful.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, having her like as my role model, like it's impossible not to be brave and strong.
How do you think and feel about it now that you're older than your mum was when she had to make those decisions?
Well, it's wild because when I turned 17, I was like, I can't believe you were already pregnant and you had a baby. And now I think I would have been like 4 years old. That is wild if I had a 4-year-old running around and have gone through what she has gone through. Like, honestly, I couldn't imagine it.
No.
Like, it's just unimaginable to me. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hope that I'd be able to go through it and, make it out. But yeah, it would have been extremely, extremely hard.
My mum had me when she was really young too. I've got a brother as well.
Oh,
She
really?
had me at 20, and I'm 30 Oh my God, I had to think then about my age. Yeah, I'm 31. And I look back and I'm like, wow, like, how did she do that? She was a single mum too at the time. I mean, we're just really young at that age.
Yeah.
Like, even now I think about like having a child and like trying to protect a child. And I'm like,
yeah, it would be a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
Even, when I was 20, I feel like I'm only 21 and I'm like, I'm so different.
Yeah.
And I've grown up so much since then. Like, I couldn't even imagine being that young.
Yeah.
Like, it would have just been a blur.
Yeah.
Like, I can't comprehend it.
What has your mum taught you about love?
I guess she's taught me to have very high standards,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's taught me a lot about self-love and making sure that, I come first before any other partner or anyone else, which is so important because if you can't love yourself, you can't even give yourself to anyone, Same regards to like your family. Like she had to love herself in order to be the best mother she could.
Yeah.
So I think she's always taught me, to just look after yourself first because you really can't look after someone if you can't do that first.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's always spoken confidence into me, just made me love myself a lot, which is really great. I guess it kind of, helps you understand like your value.
Your mum has been a warrior and a protector for you, and you also have a special bond with your dad, Jonathan, who you mentioned before. What do you love the most about him?
Well, it's really hard. So many things to choose from.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, I really love my dad because obviously he stood into like a position that, not a lot of people would have.
Yeah.
And he's anything that I go through, like he's very understanding, which like not a lot of like my friends' dads are.
Yeah.
Like he's always really close to me. I mean, I'm very close to both of my parents, which is crazy to me when some of my friends tell me that they're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've always been really understanding and he's just like such a dad. Like I can't even explain it. Like anything I need to do, like he will do. And honestly, he's really taught me like what a gentleman is. Like he still opens my doors for me. Like every Valentine's Day he always gets me something. Like he still really pours love and effort into our relationship, which I'm really grateful for. So I guess like my favorite thing about him is like how much he's taught me like what a good like father figure is, what a good man is, and I hope like the man that I marry is like exactly like him, just like still treats me and my sister like we're absolute princesses, like does everything for us, which really grateful for.
So when did he come into your life? How old were you?
I think I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
And it was funny because he was dating my mum and she went out on a date with him one day and she's like, I have a secret to tell you. And he's like, what, do you have a boyfriend? And she's like, no, like I have a kid. And he's like, oh, I love that. Like didn't even, bat an eye. And then not even before they were engaged, he got a tattoo of me on his arm. Oh. And he was like, she'll always be in my life. So like my dad has my name tattooed on his arm and then my sister's name tattooed on his other arm. But yeah.
He's so proud of you guys.
Yeah, he's so proud.
We've had a similar kind of experience. I've got an amazing stepdad. Yeah, he's incredible. Steve, I love him so much and he's done a lot for my family and my mum. And I've got 2 half sisters too.
Oh, cool.
So, and like they're literally the best. They're a lot younger than me as well. Yeah. So they're 18 and 17.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the age gap between me and my sister it was kind of weird growing up because I was like, I've always wanted to be a mum and when she was a baby, like I just take care of her. Like I just like be like, I want to change her nappy. I want to like rock her to sleep. But now that we're older, we've definitely grown a lot closer, which is so good. Yeah. Because when you're younger, like you don't really share like any interests because she was like learning how to crawl and I was like going to school and, working. So
yeah, you can be a role model for her as well and help her. I love giving my sisters advice. I don't know if they take it all the time, but
yeah. Well, it's so weird because she really does look up to me and it is kind of daunting sometimes because she's like an exact copy of me. No. Like anything I do, like I notice she will do it as well.
She loves you so much. Yeah. That's so cute.
No, it's so cute.
How different would your life be right now if your mum hadn't met your dad?
It would be very different, I think. I mean, my mum and dad, like we all went through a lot as a family anyways, but if she didn't meet him, I guess I would probably struggle like without having that father figure. And I mean, she like needs my dad. Like she's the type of girl, like she doesn't need him, but he does everything for us.
Yeah, she loves him so much. Yeah.
Not much would get done, to be honest.
What do you mean? That's hilarious.
Well, like he literally runs like our entire business for us.
Of course. Yeah,
And
right.
you know when people talk about the relationship and the balance of like feminine and masculine, like he is definitely the masculine. Like he takes care of everything. Like my mum doesn't think a single thought, which is great. Like obviously she thinks a lot and she's very smart, but whenever we go out, like she doesn't know where we're going. She doesn't know where we're eating. Yeah. Like just little things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, she'd probably have to be a lot more in her masculine energy.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what would have happened. It would be a lot different to
It'd be
how
so
life
different,
panned out.
hey?
But I guess that's the thing, like everything in life, you know, one little decision can change the entire trajectory of it. So
on the masculine feminine energy, where do you think you sit? And do you like kind of want to like look for someone that's one way or the other?
I mean, I feel like because I'm very independent, I have been in my masculine, definitely. But now I'm more so like in my feminine, I guess. Like I'm really lucky like where I am in life, like a lot of stuff is already kind of sorted out for me. So I can just kind of relax and just, you know, work and do what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely in a partner, I'd look for someone masculine.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I'm pretty traditional when it comes to relationships. Yeah. Like I'm very much like want to get married, want to have kids, have to be married before I have kids. Like want to do it all young.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still have like pretty traditional views on like I think the guy should like take care of the girl for sure.
It's nice. Chivalry isn't dead. We can still be independent, but it's nice to know that you've got someone in your corner.
Yeah, and that's it. Like I'm definitely will still be independent in my life, like have all my friendships and everything going. And I think that's the great thing. Like I know I'm going to be very independent regardless, but when it comes to the time for me to have kids, like I don't want to work. I just want to take care of the kids and do my own thing.
Yeah, I feel like you're so independent because you honestly have grown up quite fast, I suppose, and you've seen your mum had to step up and really fight for herself, and you've just taken that on. So,
yeah, for sure. And honestly, just traveling a lot, I feel like it really just broadens your perspective on everything. And I've been so lucky to travel so much over the past couple of years. I feel like I know so much more about myself and the world just from experience.
Absolutely, meeting so many different people. That's how you learn, connecting through other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Back to your recipe, I watched a video where you said your mum had to leave a school 1 week in because the racism you were experiencing there was really extreme. Is it right to say your mum and your Lola played a really big role in helping you embrace your Filipino background? I mean, you were saying how when you go back, it's really, really good for you.
I mean, they definitely have. Yeah, that school video was kind of crazy, actually. It kind of went like a little bit viral and everyone was like, what? No way. And I was like, yeah, like that was just like my life. And I guess it's weird because I just know no different. Like I've always just grown up with that at the back of my mind. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, they've definitely taught me to be proud of like where I'm from. And I feel like when I went to the Philippines earlier on this month, it really just opened my eyes to seeing that, I guess. But I think all cultures are beautiful. Like the thing is I could never understand like hating on a culture. So it's like, I don't like the people who like, I guess did it to me. It's like I just could never relate to you, and that's the difference between me and them, you know? So
I can't understand it either.
Yeah.
It's, horrible. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it was character building, so it's okay.
It's always character building. I love that.
Exactly.
Like, it's not nice at all. We don't wish it upon ourselves, but
I got really thick skin, so it's okay.
Yeah. I can sense the bravery and the independence from you. Yeah, you've got an amazing energy, Latisha.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you.
We'll get into your rule next. I love this rule. Can you share with me what it is?
So this is actually something my mum passed down to me. I think a lot of these things is going to be from my mum.
Yes, you've inherited from Kat.
Yes. So money magnet is like being a money magnet basically is whenever money comes into your life, even if you see a coin on the ground, like regardless of how much it's worth, even if it's 5 cents, like you have to pick it up and say, I'm a money magnet, and just thank the universe for bringing money into your life.
Yeah.
Because then you're sending out the energy that you want money to come into your life constantly, and you need it regardless of how much it is.
Yeah.
And this is something that my mum actually used when we were really struggling financially. And it's more so about switching your perspective and like showing gratitude, which I'm so big about showing gratitude, which is something that my mum taught me as well. Yeah, she said it helped her in a really rough time, because when you have the energy of like deflecting, like, oh, I don't need your money, like you're sending out the energy and vibes that you're good without it. Whereas like I find so much money on the floor, like it's wild. Like I found like $50 notes on the floor. Like,
oh my God, I don't ever. So I need to start using your rule.
I know, and whenever I do it, people look at me and they're like, you're crazy. But I'm like, well, am I that crazy though? Because I mean, it's worked. So
yeah. So when you pick up money up, if you find it, you say money magnet, or you think it in your head, and that's like a practice of gratitude.
Yeah, you just say, I'm a money magnet. I'm pretty sure it's from this book actually that my mum read. We were talking about it the other day, and she told me one day she was in this Uber and she saw like 10 cents on the ground, and she's like, oh, is this yours? And he's like, oh no, that's not mine. And she went to pick it up. He's like, oh, don't pick it up. Like it's bad luck. And she's like, oh, well, this is how I think of it. She told him her story about like being a money magnet. She picked it up and took it because he said it wasn't his. It's like such a big part of life is giving, but also being able to accept is like just as big.
Yeah.
So it's just, a form of gratitude and I guess acceptance of, money into your life.
I feel like sometimes we can be too maybe nice or like proud, like I don't need that, I don't need your help.
Yeah.
You can even relate that to help maybe as well. And it's like if you're blocking that off, you're not going to receive it.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to leave the door open for that.
100%. Like regardless, that's why it's like even if it's 5 cents, like you just have to pick it up, because I mean it's also like in our subconscious mind we probably walk past so much money and we don't even realize, like on the floor. But when you're kind of aware of that and open your mind up to thinking about it, like it's just going to keep coming into your life.
Yeah.
And that's just like what I believe.
I like it though. I love it.
Yeah.
So when did the rule come into your life? You inherited this from your mum. Is this something that she's thought for years?
I mean, it's definitely been years now, but I just remember just when we were like struggling financially, she was always been like a big like businesswoman. She's always read like a lot of self-help books, and now I have a bookshelf like 50 books that I've read back to front about setting goals and creating good habits. So I think I don't remember what the book was called, but she read this one book, and ever since then she's always preached it. It's just like our little thing, like whenever we find money we're just like, I'm a money magnet. So
despite all the adversity standing in your family's way, you've managed to become one of the most successful social media stories in the country. You sit here today with a booming skincare business, a popular podcast, and over 3.5 million followers online. And that's all at the age of 21. Latisha, you should be so proud of yourself, seriously. Do you think this rule and mindset has helped you get here today?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, it's not necessarily just the whole rule of the money magnet, but just having gratitude in general has just, I guess, changed me and my family's life. Because even, when you have nothing, like you still have to be grateful. It's kind of like this thing I always like to say is if you were offered, $10 billion, but you wouldn't wake up tomorrow, you wouldn't take it. And I think that's just goes to show like how much life is worth. Like waking up is like the biggest blessing that we get every single day. So I think having that gratitude and acceptance for always, taking on new projects, like saying yes whenever we can, has changed our life. Like when we started our podcast, it was out of the blue, like it just came out of nowhere. And now like it's crazy how big it is. And we went on tour with it, and that just all came from saying yes and having gratitude to be able to do projects like that and just, saying yes to every opportunity.
Do you love saying yes? Was there ever a point where you like found it difficult?
I mean, I think when it comes to social media and everything, I do love saying yes. Like when I first started, I just got fired from my job and I was like, I'm not getting another job. Like I just knew that it was going to happen. And I think that's another thing, like with the gratitude is just the art of manifestation. It's wild. Like just knowing that something's going to happen for you. Like I didn't know how, but I was like, I just know that it's going to work out for me.
Yeah.
I mean, now that it's been a while, I can be more selective with like the things I want to do in regards to work.
Yeah.
But still, I do say yes to majority of the stuff
that
comes my way.
So when you got fired from the job, was that just out of high school? So you were working like a casual job out of high school and then you were like, I'm just going to do my own thing. Things are going to work out.
Yeah, well, I was actually studying at uni full time.
Yeah.
So I was studying a Bachelor of Law.
Yeah.
Which was extremely time consuming and really hard.
Yeah.
And I was working just like casually as a bartender.
Yeah.
And I remember getting fired and not long after that, I got broken up with out of my first relationship. So I was like absolutely distraught. And then not long after, like I was so depressed, I like did not go to uni because I was like, what the hell? But yeah, my mum was like, oh, make sure you go apply for another job. And I was like, nah, I just know something's coming. Like you kind of, you always have to go down to be able to go up.
You do. If you don't have those moments in life where you're really being kind of shown a lesson in some way, like 100%. You can't experience happiness without the downs.
100%. I'm so big on that. Like anytime, there's a dip in my life, I just know that it's because it's going to get better. Yeah. So I just, try hold on to that hope. But everything like changed for me. Like I was like not going to uni and I was like, what am I going to do? But it's so weird, but I just knew like in myself, I just knew that it was going to work out. And just put in the work and it did. Yeah. So
hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Inherited. Whether it's a long-standing ritual or something you've only just started to incorporate within your routine, applying sunscreen daily is one of the simple ways to protect your skin from sun damage. And today's sponsor, NIVEA Sun, has developed a sunscreen range made specifically for your face. The UV face range includes a mattifying formula, a moisturizing SPF that's suitable for sensitive skin. There's even a BB cream. Take NIVEA Sun UV Face Shine Control SPF 50+. This very high broad spectrum sunscreen delivers protection from UVA and UVB with 0% sticky feeling, dermatologically proven to keep skin hydrated and less vulnerable to sun damage. This formula absorbs excess oil from skin's surface, leaving an instant and long-lasting matte finish. So if you've been looking for a sun care product to wear under makeup, NIVEA Sun have made one to keep you blissfully shine-free. A big thank you to NIVEA for supporting this episode of Inherited. And before we go, I will let you know, always read the label and follow the directions for use. Sunscreens are only part of sun protection. Avoid prolonged high-risk sun exposure. Reapply frequently. Wow, that must have been so hard though. Like you're like 18 or 19, straight out of school. You're going through your first heartbreak.
I know, it was
you're
so
not,
hard.
Like you're like, I can't go to uni and focus and study right now, which is fair.
Yeah.
And then also with work, you're like, I don't really have to drive to find work either. So did you just start making content?
Well, I remember when I went through that heartbreak, I was on the phone to mum and I was like, I just don't know what to do. And she was like, why don't you post a video about it on TikTok? Because, so many people will relate to it. And I was like, okay. So I posted a video and I was just in my car and I was like crying and I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like, I'm so lost. It's my first heartbreak. Like, what do I do? I was looking for advice really. Yeah. And that was like my first video that really blew up. Yeah. And I just remember that night, like all these people that I'd followed for years, like followed me back and I was like freaking out. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Wow.
Yeah. She was like, why don't you just share it? And I think that's maybe why like our family became so successful on social media, is just by being vulnerable and being real. Yeah. Like a lot of people think we were like, we've been rich or, we've been drowning in money and all these things are handed to us. I was like, no, but people don't know the full story on our lives. Like it hasn't been easy.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. And even when I got fired from my job, I just remember looking at my account. I had like $30 in my account and I was like, I'm not going back to work. Yeah. Like I just hated it. I just knew it wasn't for me. Like, I just hate working for other people. Like I know some people love it, but I just can't do it.
You're business minded.
Yeah. I'm very exactly like my mum. Like, I don't like to listen to people, even in day-to-day life. Like, when she tells me to do something, like, I don't want to do it because I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah, you like your autonomy.
I mean? Yeah, I love it. So, yeah.
What star sign are you?
I'm a Gemini.
Okay. You were giving me like kind of Taurus energy. I'm a Taurus.
Really?
So, yeah, you're a Gemini. I love
we're
it.
Close.
Yeah, we are close. Yeah.
But yeah, it's because my mum's a Gemini too, because we were born on the same day.
I love Geminis. They're very creative. Sorry, now my whole woo-woo astrology side's coming out.
But like the Gemini sign is a twin.
Yes.
And because she had me on her birthday, we actually got a matching tattoo.
She had you on your birthday?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was born on her birthday and we're both Geminis and we've like always been like compared as sisters. So we actually got a matching tattoo. But yeah, it is crazy how alike we are. We're like literally the same person.
Twins. Well, wow. Yeah. As a teenager, you've just grown and become so self-aware from such a young age and had so much life experience, thrown at you. Back to that first heartbreak. How did you go through that? Because I will never forget mine at 18 and it was one of the hardest things I've ever been through.
Yeah, it's always the hardest. How did I get through it? Honestly, my mum, like, she would literally lay with me until I fell asleep. Like, I couldn't sleep like the first few nights because you just never see it coming. And especially when you're so young, like, you never expect it to happen.
No.
But I was really lucky because obviously it was so horrible and hard for me. But also my life was changing in like such an amazing way. Like I was getting invited to events with like Chris Hemsworth and I was meeting all these people that I've like looked up to for years. And, I just got this great circle of friends who supported me and I was making so many new friendships. I was getting invited to go traveling.
Yeah.
And so I think it came down to like switching perspective. I was like, I can sit here and like, moan about the situation I'm in and cry, or I can just live this amazing life that's literally being handed to me because of what happened.
Yeah.
And so it was shit at the time. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, it was shit at the time. But now it's like anything bad that happens to you. It's like I'm glad it happened because it made me who I am. And yeah, it definitely, without it, I probably would have never posted that video and I would probably be still bartending, so.
Isn't that crazy to think, hey? We talked about, being in the public eye comes with like the highs of highs and the lowest of lows and how you're saying you really need those lows to be able to reach the high. Like it's like a lesson in ways and there's something good around the corner. What do you think has been your highest high so far?
Oh, that's really hard. Like in life or just like in career?
Maybe in career, yeah, with like how you've put all your life online. Yeah, so within your content career.
I think launching our own business, like Collade, was huge.
Yes.
Because my parents have been working on that for ages. Like any business that, comes out of the ground takes months and months of planning. So I think that was a huge milestone for us because, obviously social media is great, but you can't really name more than 100 people who last on social media forever. Like you need to branch out into other avenues. So that was definitely a big milestone for us. And in our launch, I think we sold out in like 4 minutes.
Wow.
Which was crazy. So that was huge. And probably our podcast tour was a big one as well, like traveling all around Australia, meeting everyone. Like it was so emotional, like girls, coming up to us and crying. And I think when you post on social media, you don't really see the other end of it. Like you kind of post and you're like, whatever. But then, whenever I meet people, I'm like, wow, these are real people whose like lives we've actually touched and like made feel better.
Yeah.
We meet a lot of, girls who are going through teen pregnancy or a lot of girls who've like left domestic violence relationships. So yeah, it's definitely it was very emotional, but it was great because, if you can even just change one person's life, then it's so worth it.
Because it's so important to share that message, I think, when you feel safe and like ready to do so. But I think when you open up about that stuff, so many people have similar experiences and then it makes them share it and then you're creating this safe space.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like the only way that we can really end anything is if we speak up about it and share it. So yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's why my mum asked me to speak about my heartbreak. Obviously it's not the same as like her story.
Yeah.
But you know, I still get messages of people being like, you really helped me. Like, it's a hard thing to go through.
It is.
So,
do you think that's the hardest, like the lowest of lows you've had to experience over the last few years?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, because it was so personal. Whereas,
Of course.
you know, anything like family related, like I've just been able to go through it with my family. But I guess heartbreak is like one-on-one.
It is.
It's just like you and yourself. And yeah, I guess it was hard. Now when I think about it, I'm like, I could go through it again because I'm like, you know, I know myself now. When I was younger, I didn't know myself. I didn't know my worth. Whereas now I know who I am, and I know that I would be fine, you know, if anything like that happened again.
Yeah.
So I think it's different. Like when I was still a baby.
We don't know what's happening at that age when we get thrown around like that, like with our emotions. It can be really hard. And it's interesting because I feel like love will be so different with each person you meet, and each relationship will be different. Each connection will, depending on how they end. But you've always just got to remember that you are the prize, and don't let anyone teach you otherwise. That's what I try and tell myself.
100%. Well, yeah, I think that was something that I learned after that breakup, I guess. And yeah, it's definitely changed my perspective on everything.
Don't settle because you don't, need anyone. And you've got such an amazing, rich life with your family and your career and your beautiful friends.
Well, that's it.
So you have lived a life with very little money. I mean, back when you were bartending and you left the job, you had $30 in your account as well with your mum growing up. And now I imagine a life that is, with a decent amount of money. Do you think money buys you happiness?
So this is a I always think about this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think money buys happiness, but I think money buys freedom.
Yeah.
Which can give you happiness. Like I think having the freedom to travel and, having the freedom to not worry is definitely huge because when we didn't have money, I guess one of the main things, it wasn't because we were sad, it's because we were so stressed about making ends meet. It was because we were so stressed about, being able to put food on the table. Whereas I think you can find happiness regardless of the financial position you're in, but it definitely helps you, have the freedom to be able to, find happiness easier, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a hard one, but, I mean, money is nothing without having anyone to share it with or without the family or friends in your life. So, it's, I don't know, 50-50.
Yeah, it might not necessarily buy you happiness, but it definitely can help you and support you in ways to see the world in different ways and 100%. Connect with people. But at the end of the day, you need your ride or dies, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like money is nothing if you don't have anyone to share it with, but also, you I guess you kind of need money to be able to survive, and having that freedom is can make you very happy. But you can definitely have money and be sad.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But would you being sad and going to work, or being sad and being able to be like, okay, I'm going to Fiji,
Exactly. And I think it actually comes with that in your rule, which is it's like a gratitude practice. It's being grateful about it, and not greedy. It's being grateful and knowing that I'm really lucky, I'm really grateful. I've 100%. Worked really hard for this and I can see where I've come from.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You say this rule is obviously a money magnet. Do you have a similar mindset towards attracting, say, romantic love?
No, not really. Because I guess when it comes to love, it's more so when it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in looking for love, especially at the stage of life I'm in. If it came along, it would. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been the type to look for something.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in the universe places everything as it's supposed to be and when it's supposed to come. So yeah, I have never really, I guess, tried to attract love. I do think of I know what my husband will be like and things like that, and I know my standards and what he has to, I guess, reach.
Yeah.
But no, never tried to attract it myself, I guess.
How do you feel about navigating a relationship, saying the future in the public eye? Or, you know, if you've dated anyone like recently, what's that like for you when you're very personal and public online?
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard for me because there's no, you know, rule book on social media. There's no one to tell you, oh, this is the good thing to do, this is the bad thing to do. And I kind of have to learn that myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, any relationship thing, like, now I keep private.
Yeah.
I don't really like to talk about it online or anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, that could change.
Yeah.
I'm just not too sure right now. Like, it's still like a learning thing for me.
Of course.
I don't really know because people on the internet can just be so mean, and my page is, you know, it's just for me. Like, people follow me for me. They're not going to follow me for, you know, my boyfriend
exactly.
or who I'm with. So I probably only want to post a man when I marry him.
Yeah, you need to tick every box before you end up anywhere, before anyone knows about you.
Yeah.
No, but you need to be sure. I think that's sort of like, especially when you've been hurt in the past, you want to make sure that this person is like there for you before,
100%.
you know, and you need to take your time.
Yeah, and relationships on social media and online, as soon as you break up, like, it just makes everything 100 times more complicated and 100 times more painful. So I think I just like to keep it private.
Yeah, totally. Well, we'll get onto your ritual next, Latisha. And yours is that you always call or FaceTime at least 2 of your friends every single day and check in with them. Where are these calls happening? Like, are you a car ride caller, or is this something you're like doing from bed?
I'm honestly, I am a car ride caller.
Yeah.
All the time because I'm always driving.
Yeah.
So whenever I drive, I can't just sit there. Like, I have to talk to someone. So yeah, I'm always calling my friends from my car, and anytime I'm at home, because I live alone now.
Yeah.
It's like lonely. So always calling when I'm at home. Honestly, anytime. Like, I could be on the phone to my friends like all day, because a lot of my friends don't actually live on the Gold Coast. A lot of my friends I've kind of made when I've been traveling for work. So they live in Melbourne or Sydney.
You got lots of long distance friends.
Yeah, lots of long distance friends. Like, I got some in Perth, and then I've even got a friend in Japan. So, you know, I always try and keep in contact, and I get jealous when people, like, their friends live like 10 minutes down the road. I'm like, I wish that was me.
Yeah. Do you get lonely living on your own, or do you like it?
Well, I've only lived alone as of recently because my roommate just moved out.
Yeah.
I do like it, but I think I am getting lonely because yesterday I was like really sad, and I was like, I wonder what's going on. And I was like, I think I miss my roommate.
Talking to someone. Yeah.
It's just like talking to someone when you get home. It's, you know, especially the job I have, I'm always alone. And I don't realize it. Like, I'll make 100 videos. I'll be like, wow, I actually didn't talk to a single person today.
Totally. You're talking to the camera, like to your followers, but it's like that parasocial relationship.
Yeah. So that's why I always like keep in touch with my friends. And going through that breakup when I was younger, I was like, wow, like, you really need to keep your friends close because they are like just everything. Like, you know, they're the type of relationship that never leaves.
Yeah, friendship is so important. I think
100%.
when you go through something, your friends are just always there. They always get it. And when you've got good friends like in your corner as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that it's hard to know, like, when you're meeting people who you can actually trust?
Like, honestly, when I first started, I went through a lot of lessons with that. And yeah, I definitely came across a lot of people who I shouldn't have trusted. But I think that's just like my heart. Like, I've just got a big heart. I want to trust everyone, and I give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Of course.
But definitely, you know, since it's been quite a while, I 100% know now. I can tell people's intentions.
Yeah.
And, you know, I still try and give benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, but surely they wouldn't do this. But yeah, I'm pretty lucky I went through those experiences that now I kind of know where people's intentions are, I guess.
Totally.
But yeah, at the start it was very hard. I, you know, lost a lot of friends, had to cut a lot of people off. But I, like, the friends I've had now, that it's just been so solid and so good for so long. So
I love that.
I would never worry with them. Yeah.
Have you ever felt like you've made the wrong decision when it's come to a friendship? Like, maybe you haven't been the best friend that you thought you could be?
I think when I was younger, I've definitely found myself be like, I could have been a better friend. But I don't really hate on myself for anything I did when I was younger because,
No.
again, like I was just learning.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like everyone has to learn. Like anything my friends are going through, I just, whereas like they're seeing someone they shouldn't, I'm like, I just let them because they have to learn the lesson themselves,
100%.
Like you can't guide someone through it if you've already been through it. Like you just have to let them learn. So there's definitely things that I guess I did when I was younger, like just not kept in touch with certain people or just push people away for like a guy that I was seeing or something like that. But I think I've learnt now, and
it happens though. We all do it. And like you said,
does it,
you can't tell people, oh my God, break up with that guy, or,
yeah.
Our friends can say like, hey, you've hurt my feelings. What can we do from here on? But I sometimes think you have to go, oh, they need to learn their lesson. I might have learned that lesson 6 months earlier, but now it's their time.
Yeah.
And you're always there for them though when, things fall apart, because that's what friends do.
No, 100%. And I think something I've learned is just being a good communicator. Like anything that comes up with your friends, like you just have to address it and just talk it out, because that's the only way to get over it.
And we'll finish on your relic today. Speaking of friendship, this is a jelly cat that your best friend got for you for your birthday.
Yeah.
And you always take it with you whenever you travel. Is that right?
Yes.
So what is a jelly cat?
Well, a jelly cat is like, I guess it's like a teddy bear. I
Cute.
actually don't know where it came from, but they're like huge. Like everyone loves jelly cats. It's like this big trend. But basically he bought me like this little pink bunny. And when it was my birthday this year that he got it for. Yeah, that I got it. And it was because when I was going to Europe, I was flying by myself, and I was like really scared because it was like a 25-hour flight by myself, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I got this for you so that you're not alone when you're on the plane. And so I brought it over to Europe with me, and now I sleep with it every night, and every time I go overseas I always bring it with me, and it just reminds me of home. And when I do travel, I tend to get really homesick a lot.
Yeah.
Not because I really miss like anyone, because usually I'm traveling with my family, but I just miss like home.
So it's a nice little reminder for you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's it's just a reminder for me. It's just like a piece of home that I can bring with me everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
How else do you help with the homesickness? Like, I guess you always are checking in on the phone with people, but has there ever been a time where it's been really hard for you? Like you've had to come home?
Oh, well, when I went to Europe, it was really bad. Like I was like crying in the shower because I was like so sad. The only reason it was so bad is because my family's moving overseas.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah.
And I'm not moving with them.
Oh.
And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, if I'm this sad now, like how's it going to be when they live so far away from me?
Yeah.
How am
Where
I
are they
gonna survive?
moving?
Well, they haven't said yet.
Yeah. So your mum is and dad?
Yeah, mum, dad, and my sister.
Oh, but you're going to stay here?
But yeah, I'm going to stay. I decided to stay because I just love home.
Yeah.
Like it's not really, where everyone is. It's just like the Gold Coast is just home for me.
Home for you. Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a really hard point, and I was like, I want to go home.
Yes.
But I'm really glad I didn't, because I enjoyed like every single last day, and that was the thing. I knew it would pass.
Yeah.
Like obviously I was feeling so sad all day, but I was like, I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And progressively I did.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I just kind of let that pass. But yeah, even when I went to the Philippines, I think I just want to be home, because on the third day I was looking at flights to go home.
Wow.
Like I just really do just get very homesick. But I always said like this year would be my year of like heaps of travel.
Yeah.
And then next year I just want to stay at home and build my life here. So
that's
like
so fun.
I just have hope for that. And I try and just stay in the moment. You know what I mean? Like staying in the present moment is so big, especially when you're feeling homesick. I'm just like, well, I'm never going to get this moment back, so let me just go through it and enjoy it and try have a good time. And, home is always going to be there.
I want to end on chatting about your influencing and content work. Mm-hmm. What do you think makes a good content creator? Because you've obviously been so successful.
I think there's two things that kind of sell, I guess, in the content creation world. And it's one is being like something that's unachievable or something that is relatable.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of can go into both aspects, because my life is like unachievable in some people's eyes, because, I get to travel, I don't really do much. Like I just get to live like, I guess, this kind of dream life.
Yeah.
Which if you think about it, that's why we follow celebrities, because it's like, wow, they just have all these things, and all they do is, you know, wake up, go to the gym, go to like a modeling shoot or like shoot a movie, and that's kind of something that people will go on social media and look for, and they're like, that is crazy. Or you have someone, you know, where you go on social media and you're like, wow, I really relate to that.
Yeah.
And I think if you can hit both of those markers, like you're just going to do insanely well. Like being able to relate to people is extremely important, because even I, you know, I have people that I look up to on social media, and like they genuinely do make my life better. Yeah. Because I'm like, I look up to them, I can relate to them. Yeah. And you know, how their life is, I'm like, I'm going to work to get to that. It's like Anna Paul. Yeah. Like so relatable. She talks about so many, you know, relatable things in life, but also her life is like unachievable. Like she just travels the world the entire year round. Yeah. You know, and that's why she's done so great. Yeah. So I think those are like the two, I guess, main things these days. Yeah. But at the end of the day, posting anything that you're passionate about is going to really help. Yeah. You can't post something and like be fake. Like you really have to be like your authentic self and show your actual personality. And that's why people want to follow you, because they see the real you.
That's it. Like you, when you went through that heartbreak. Yeah. So many people connected with that and still remember that now. Yeah. What's next in store for you, Latisha? I mean, you're 21, you've had incredible success. If you look at like the next 5 to 10 years, like what do you want to do?
Get married and have a baby.
Yeah. So you take a break from the work because you're.
Well, no, that's just like my personal goals.
Of course. No, but it can be any goal really. Yeah.
But yeah, I think so when my family move overseas, obviously I'm going to be like stepping up and taking care of the business over here. Yeah. And yeah, we're still going to be doing our podcast. Some really exciting things like with our business coming out. Like we're thinking of maybe doing like a pop-up store, or maybe taking it to a real store potentially. But yeah, just kind of maybe working on like a few personal business ventures as well. But yeah, just living life, to be honest.
Living life. And you would like to have a baby, like 100%. In your later 20s, would you? Yeah.
No, younger 20s.
Younger, sooner. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's an incredible goal.
Yeah. So, well, that's like my life goal has always been to be a mum. Yeah. So if we're talking like 5 to 10 years, it's definitely going to be in between then. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just like, I like to set goals, but I also like to live like day to day and just try stay in the present. So I think, you know, focusing on just keeping my relationships with my family and friends good. Yep. And just a few like personal business ventures here and there. But honestly, I'm really, really happy with like where we're at right now. Yeah. Oh, you should be. You guys should be so proud. I'm so excited to see what's to come for you too. We do finish on one question, and we've been talking about all the things you've inherited so far. What's something that you intend passing on, and who do you want to pass it on to? I think that, I mean, I couldn't answer it any other way. I think I have to be passing on like the gratitude. Yeah. And just the concept of being grateful for everything, regardless of, you know, what area you are in your life. Just because I feel like it can really change your perspective, and it can just change so much for your life. But definitely my sister, and I know my sister takes on after me, and I know she's like, already has so much gratitude. Yeah. But passing it on to her, and definitely, you know, my future kids for sure. I think it's so important. Like if you have nothing but you have gratitude, like you're still rich in so many ways. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Latisha, thank you so much for coming on Inherited.
Well, thanks for having me.
No worries. It's been such a joy to chat to you, and good luck for everything. I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Inherited. To support Latisha, follow her on Instagram at Latisha Clark. And if you enjoyed this episode, we are new to YouTube. I would absolutely love for you to hit subscribe and follow Inherited the Pod on YouTube. It is the best way for us to keep speaking to incredible guests. And hey, if you can right now, take a photo as well, share it to your story, spread the word. We are only a baby on this platform. Thank you so much. We'll be back with another episode next Tuesday.